Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and this video is going to be on cyclical ketogenic diet tips and what is really the best strategies to maximize how you feel and your results on a cyclical ketogenic diet. So CKDs, as I'm going to call them for the rest of this video, are a very complicated topic, and ironically enough, this is the form of keto diet that most people actually start with, and it's actually the one you should be doing when you have the most experience of keto, okay? I've talked to so many people, and they say, oh no, I didn't like keto, I just did the cyclical keto cycles and I hated it. And I was like, that's the worst one to start with, because CKD is meant for advanced keto dieters. It's not meant for people who are trying to get quick fat loss. It's not really optimal for people who are athletes, but that is the one gray area where you can start off with CKDs. But here's the gist of a CKD. First of all, standard keto diet, no carbs, you're flying. That's it. Your fat loss is flying off, but it's going to take a month or two, depending on your body type, to get adapted. If you're an athlete, this will probably be quicker. If you're more obese, it'll probably take longer. Actually, sometimes it could actually be quicker if you're obese, because your body could just really tap into fat burning if you have a lot to lose. But bottom line, everybody's different, and fat adaptation is where your body gets really good at using fat. And you will start to store some carbs from your protein that you're eating, not from your muscles, and from your green vegetables to use for athletic performance. So you need to be adapted before you even consider CKD. You need to be able to use some of those carbohydrates in your body to create them through a process called gluconeogenesis before you even look at CKD. So many people, what they do is they get lean first with a regular keto diet, and then they hop into CKD keto cycles. Now here's the thing, why shouldn't you start off with CKD? I have a video on this, but the gist is that if you hop into a CKD before you even get adapted, what's going to happen is your body's not going to be able to switch into fat burning mode from keto, because it takes you more days than you have in your week to actually get into ketosis. So if you have 3 days on keto, 1 day off, and you do that every 3 days, it's going to take your body 3 days to get into ketosis. Fourth day, when you're actually in ketosis, you're going to kick it out by having carbs. And then you're going to feel like crap because your blood sugar is going up and down, and it's severely dropped for 3 days. But that's the gist of it. You can watch that video, find it somewhere in my description or on my page if you're interested in CKDs. But cyclical ketogenic dieting is not meant for newbies. It will ruin your experience of the diet and because it will basically lower your blood sugars to the point where you're just getting into ketosis and then dip you right out. So you don't want that at all. You need to be adapted first, and typically people who get really lean and then want to maintain it or do some sort of lifestyle approach to keto, that's where CKD comes in. So that's the attitude. You have to understand the attitude behind CKD first before you understand what actually optimizes it. So if you fall into that category, good. If you're trying to optimize your lifestyle, let's say you've gotten ripped and you're just trying to stay lean year round, you want some days with carbs, so be it. Typically, if you do keto long enough, you actually don't crave carbs at all. I've been doing keto for 7 years, and I spend the majority of the year in ketosis. Now, that's the attitude, right? Many people do this for performance, mentally as well, because keto amplifies performance. But let's get into how to actually optimize a CKD when you're somebody who falls into the category of I'm good to do keto, or I'm good to do CKD. First things first, you're going to want to keep your carbs. Start by dipping your feet in the water before you dive head first. So start off with some targeted keto days. So targeted keto is like between 10 to 30 grams of carb before a workout. That is what many athletes do when they're already keto adapted. I have a video on TJ Dillashaw, UFC fighter, who does this as well. So TKD days are much lower carb intake than CKD days. TKD is 10 to 30 grams before a workout, crank it out. Maybe you can get by with a little bit more carb in there depending on the intensity of your exercise, but it's never going to go over 100, and really it should always be between 10 and 30. So you do that, you crank out a workout, and then you've presumably used up all those carbs, and then your body hops right back into ketosis after the workout. This is because you are adapted and you start off with TKD days. From there, what's going to happen is you should also be avoiding gluten. Don't get your carbs from gluten sources. Get them from quick digesting carb sources, and never fruit sugars, never fructose. Fructose gets digested in your liver. You don't want that. You want carbs to go right in your muscles. And if you're doing CKD, yeah, you can fit in some fruits here and there. But start off by easing into it with TKD and those principles. Next up is for sports. You will honestly get better sports performance if you start with a standard keto and then occasionally do a little bit of TKD. So for me, I play full soccer games and of course work out in the gym on just standard keto, and I feel great. I can run around for hours and my energy is always solid, and I feel like I'm a lot sharper when I play soccer on standard keto. Occasionally I would do TKD, a little bit of fast digesting carbs before, and that's beneficial as well. But I've honestly felt better results on a standard keto diet and then taking in some exogenous ketone supplements before to raise my level of ketones. And then if you already have that little bit of glucose built up, as I was explaining before from fat adaptation, you won't really need to eat them. So if you're thinking about doing this for performance, it's not really necessary. The only area where you truly would want to do it, even then it's a stretch, would be, let's say you're trying to lean down at the same time maintain athletic performance. So then you do a couple days out of the week of no keto and then a couple days with keto. So basically game days, if you're too used to carbs, you would have carbs on those days, and then CKD basically the rest of the week when you're not playing. That's the only scenario where this is acceptable and optimal, really, but even then it's a stretch. So avoid gluten when you are trying to get into a CKD cycle. You basically want to avoid any inflammatory responses in your body when you're dipping in and out of ketosis, because many people have gluten intolerances and it's better to play it safe and just start with less inflammatory, quick digesting carbs. This is why it's also better to start with TKD, because let's say once a week you do a TKD day, and then you start upping it to 2 times a week, and then 3 times a week, and then you cap it around there. And then after that point, you switch from taking in just quick carb supplement or dextrose or a bowl of oats or a bowl of cream of wheat or cream of rice or something like that, and then you can start actually having these carb meals. You can actually start having some sandwiches, some bread, some pasta, some pizza in the appropriate doses. So that's how you would actually wean into this and actually get into a cyclical ketogenic diet lifestyle. But it does take some experimentation, and you have to be fat adapted first from a standard keto diet. So basically, that's the way to do it. But the most important thing is that this is a diet that you will only do after you've already been adapted. The most frequent users of CKDs are people who hop into CKD after they've gotten their goal physique. And from there, they basically want to keep their body lean year round, and maybe they want to eat carbs from here and there. The goal of a keto diet is basically get your body better at using fat and get your body better at using carbs. You heard me right. Using carbs will be more effective after a keto diet. So presumably you get in your goal physique, your dream physique, everything's great. Then from there, you want to go travel, you want to do whatever, live your life. You want to go out and eat some pasta and pizza and whatever, right? You're not going to be craving these things, but you can go out and live your life and have that option. And that is where CKD comes in. That is the attitude. And from there, then after you've built up your tolerance to certain carbs, you can start throwing in more of these foods. So hopefully this gave you some clarity. If you want more topics diving into CKD, any questions answered on CKD, leave them in the comments below and I will answer you. Let me know. I will have online coaching to work one-on-one with any sort of keto diet, but cyclical keto is something that I have done many times in my life, and I am fully prepared to work with you if you're interested in it. So leave me a comment if you're interested in talking to me about CKD, because down the line it is going to be one of the services I will offer for online coaching. You know, always at arm's reach, always in communication with you. CKD can be very confusing. It's the most confusing form of keto diet, and all of my services in the future are going to curtail to making keto less confusing and easier for you. So that's the gist of this video. If you want a free keto training plan, meal plan, link in the description. Beyond that, join my Facebook group if you want to talk with people about keto and your experiences. That's also in the description. Thanks for watching. My name is Anthony Romano. Peace.